Welcome back to our Splunk series part 3, where we are going to go over the fields and transforming operators, and we'll get some Boolean searching in use as well. So let's begin with the Boolean searches. With multiple search terms, Splunk implicitly does a logical AND of them, but you can also use the OR and NOT operators for more advanced searches. So in this scenario, they ask us to use the source type CSV and apply the events that have inside update update keyword or insert keyword, and do not include the email. So let's go and do this. We'll look for wall time. Here it says wall time. So the first filter will be wall time, and then we select the source type, which is CSV, and we'll look for anything that contains update or insert, and also not containing email. And it asks how many events were returned, so 6,244, and how many events matched the April 28th. So you can go and use this timeline here, April 28th, and see how many events we have, and we can see it's 211 events. You can see like in here those events is particular for this time frame that I selected. What is the average duration rounded to one decimal place of queries that match this search? So based on the day searches, we need to look for the average duration, and we need to add one more field in here, or look for it inside here, like right there, duration. Click on it, add it to the top and to the selected part, and you can see it, average 18.4. Next, by default, the source, host, and source type are default selected fields in here, but if we want, we can hover and select from those interesting fields an add-on, or choose the whole fields and check mark in here the one that we want to see in our selected fields. We can search for a particular one that you know that you're looking for, a specific one that it's applied to this particular source type, because it depends on the source type that you look in the query, it will be generated different interesting fields. So you need to make sure that you first apply the source type if you look for a specific source type before choosing the fields. Alright, so we have a task to look for events on the 24th of May and filter by field action, where the field action equals purchase and the field bytes is greater than 1500. So we need to select the May 24th. I'll just deselect this one in here and look for May 24th right there. Select this one, and I'm looking for the fields action equal purchase, and the number field bytes, which should be greater than 1500 bytes. Okay, again, this by default didn't give me the right time frame. So okay, here it says since, so we go and select since, and I need to apply May 24th. Apply. Source type action purchase and bytes 1500. Right, what's going on in here? They didn't specify the source type. Okay, so no source type for all events that contain action purchase and bytes 1500 or more than 1500. 1689 events. What is the client IP of the most recent one? So we need to look for the client IP field. I'll just add it in here, client IP. So don't need to look for it. So I add this filter, and now I can see it. That field is displayed in here. So it's 200, 212, 235, 92, 150. What is the value of referrer domain for one of these requests? So the referrer domain for these requests. Okay, I need to add this field. They ask us to provide the field, so I didn't add all the fields they ask, like bytes. To add bytes to that selected fields and referrer. So once I have add them, I'll have them in selected fields, and also in the event itself it will be displayed, like you can see referrer, domain, and I can choose it from here. Oh my goodness, it's hard to select this field. Okay, so we're done with this. Let's move to next, transforming operators. So now that we have covered the basic forms of searching across events and filtering to specific results, it's time to see the power of transforming commands, which can further analyze and visualize our data. So now we are going to use the pipe operator to connect the results of the generating commands with powerful analyzes. So first of the commands we are going to use with the pipe is going to be tab, which will display us the tables, like will display us a table with the counts and percentage of the most common values for this particular field we may select. So like in this case we have that source access combined double cookie, where we pipe it into tab and look for the referrer field to see the 10 most like the most common values. So by default it will display you 10 results. If you want to make it less results or more results, you will use top limit and equal to amount of events you want to see. So let's go back to our queries, and now we're gonna use the source type combined cookies, pipe it into the top, and we'll look for the field referrer domain. And let's go next. So the same, we'll look for wall time events, and we'll look for the referrer domain that contains HTTP status code but not the 200 code. So we need to change the preset wall time, and we need to apply the field status does not equal 200 and top referrer, right? Let's see. So this is the one they asked. No. For wall time, what was the most common referrer domain? So use the base generating search command. Answer the most common referrer domain for HTTP status other than okay, so I have this error here. And the most common used referrer domain is right there. Well, yeah, I mean, referrer domain is not number, it's the domain name. Come on. Alright, what was the count of the most common status code in the first 7 days of May? So we need to go and use the time range, date range. It says the most common. So between these 7 days, 0, 5 and 0507. And the status code, count of the most common status code. Okay, I need the source type actually. Source type. So the most common will be the pipe into the top status. And it asks for the count of those status codes, so 26329, and that was the successful code of 200, and it's 26329. What is the second most popular category ID associated with purchase actions for all time? So now we look for the top of the category ID and also the action field. And it's for all time. And it asks for the purchase action. Here is the actions purchase, and the second, right? It says the second most, and it's arcade. Arcade. Okay. So next, now we're gonna use the top command, and we'll try to give it more inserts or like limiting for the specific amount of events. And in this scenario it has to use the same source type and use the top to limit based on the 11th highest. So we need to select the limit to 11 for those two categories. So in here I'm going to go and give it a limit equal to 11, and categories, the fields are category ID and refer domain. And I have the refer domain of, okay, and what it asks us was the 11th highest. So the 11th highest is this one null, and the count is 185. Because here it says count. So next one is the search modes, and they explain us about the search modes. There's 3 search modes available: verbose mode, smart mode, and fast mode. The verbose mode will parse data in those, like will populate data in those two tables, like events and statistics. And the smart mode will just populate one of those fields at a time. So you can either look in the statistics or in events. But with the verbose you can look in both, like switching between those. So now you can see we are in the smart mode. And the fast mode, it says it's usually used for dashboards and reports where an expensive search is being run. And you change the modes in here. By default I think the smart mode is default one. Or probably like depends on what querying you're doing, what type of query you do. So the next command you can use is rare, is the opposite of the top, which top it gives you the most common results, and the least it gives the least common results. And we can use this command doing the following task. It asks what is the client IP of the list with the least number of events. So if you go and do rare for this field client IP, for client IP, and we'll get the list number of events and client IP with the list number of events. Client, okay. Client IP. The list number of events is 2. No, list number of events. With the list number of client IP, sorry. So they ask for the IP, not for the counts. So client IP, what is the client IP with the list number of events among both client IP and action? So we need to add one more field, action, and which one less has list counts 9, and this is the IP address. And that's how you can use rare. Next, stats count. So another powerful transforming command is stats, which allows for the computation of various statistics associated with datasets. The count command is the simplest, which will simply display a single number of the results with no other argument. This is useful for dashboards. And you can also count by a given field or a list of fields, similar to tab, though they are not sorted descending by default. So we can use this command and look how this will just generate all the available, the total events, the count of total events. So the command status does not equal to 100, and we use stats count for all events. Okay, it does not equal stats count. Status stats count. Okay, that's right, like this. Right, so we'll get 1517 total, and then we can use the stats by action. So for example, in this case it just gives me the total events count for this particular source type, and which does not contain the 200 results for the code 200 in those results. And this is the total amount, and if you want selected by particular field, you can specify the particular field, like in this case action. You can see the results for the action, and you can add another table here to look for those particular action fields, and table, another table you can use host, so you can give it multiple tables in here, so you can see. And in this scenario they ask us to perform the same task. How many total events had the HTTP status of 200 in the month of May 2020? So we need to filter by the month, and month between May 01 apply, and the source type event, it's equal to 100, and we need to look for status of 200. Total events had the HTTP status of 200. For status of 200, which combination of HTTP method and URI path was the most prevalent in May 2020? So we need to look for the top and we'll look for method and URI path. And it asks which one is the most prevalent, so we got the counts in here. And this is the get method and URI product screen. So this is the result in here. And in April 2020, which user agent made the most requests that didn't have 200 status? Again, go back to our filter. And it will look for does not have, does not equal, and the field, the user agent. And we look for which user agent. Okay, so the most most counts, it has this one, and you always can like look for it, like most common, least common, and so on. It's not displayed in the right order. So that was this command, the stats count, and now the next command we can use is the stats, but where we can use, instead of count, we can apply average based on the field and values based on the field. So we'll have a numeric, and the list will give us a numeric field and a list of all unique values of the field. So in this scenario we use the same source type and the status of 200, and now instead of stats count we use stats, what's asking me here, the most unique values. Most unique values will be by values and the value of the file for the referrer domain in the referrer domain. So stats values for the file in, so by referrer domain. Okay, and stats value file, which referrer domain has the most unique values. Now I made the error in this typing here. So the most values, which has the most values in here, like this has 364441. So this is the right one. Let me see, domain for all time. Okay, so make sure you apply the right filter in here. What I did, oh my god. Okay, changed me all this source and pipe it in stats values. By referrer domain. Okay, so we have 368. So this one has the most. So that's our result. This is the referrer domain that has the most unique values. And what is the average bytes rounded to 1 decimals of remove actions? So now we need to go apply the average, stats based on average, and it says the field bytes, average bytes by action field, and we'll look for the remove action. So here is the action remove, and the average bytes is 2084.39, so rounded to 1 decimal is 4. 2084.4. 2084.4. Alright, so that was the Splunk fields and transforms. So this was the part 3 of the Splunk. So see you in next module.